Alan, big news in the global aviation industry today. We've heard that Qatar Airways are buying a 10% stake in International Airlines Group, owner of British Airways. What do you make of this?
Really very interesting. I mean, IAG has been involved in a number of things recently, most notably the bid for Aer Lingus of Ireland itself, which is held 4% by Etihad, another Gulf carrier. And here's Qatar taking a 10% stake in IAG. It is honestly very interesting, but what do they want from it is another question.
Well, I was going to say, what do each party, Qatar Airways and IAG, get out of this equity?
Well, the first question to ask is, why spend the money? First of all, IAG and Qatar have a code-sharing agreement. They were already going to benefit from each other's routes. In the case of IAG, they're stronger in the North Atlantic routes over to the United States, and Qatar has more maybe to Asia Pacific, but they're both also in the One World Alliance already. So spending the money doesn't help. Is it for the dividends? I don't think so.
And surely this is fascinating, not least because the Gulf carriers have long been seen as the enemy for the European carriers because they've put them under pressure on lots of different routes. What do you think, though, is the end game for Qatar here? Do they want to take over IAG?
I think there might be a suspicion of that, but it seems unlikely. There is a cap of about 49% on ownership of European airlines set by the EU, so I don't think that's going to happen here. They're getting closer. The two CEOs, the chief executives, are friendly. They're more than friendly. They're good buddies, it seems. They get on, so that's a good fit. Whether this is some way of cementing the alliance, I don't know. But you know, on the margin, though, the question you have to ask is, why? How does this help IAG?
And is there an issue over conflicts here at all? Mr. Al Bakr, the CEO of Qatar Airways, he sits on the Heathrow board, doesn't he?
It's a good point, but frankly, if there was a conflict already, that would have come up with Qatar Airways. Because, as you say, he sits as a representative of the Qatari Investment Authority on Heathrow Holdings board as a non-exec director, and I think that probably would have already come up. But the question I have is, isn't this not marginally bad for IAG a little bit? You know, it's great to have that capital, I suppose, in the bad times, but is it good to have a state-owned enterprise from the Middle East necessarily there? Does that help you in negotiations that you have going forward? I don't know. So it's a little unclear as to why they're doing it. It's unusual.
Fascinating, nevertheless, and no doubt with Mr. Walsh, the CEO of IAG, and the CEO of Qatar being such outspoken individuals, doubtless we'll hear a lot more in the coming days and months. Mm-hmm.